Correct letter formation is really important when it comes to including digraphs into our writing, because we need to focus on joining the letters together. Quick reminder, digraphs are two letters that make one sound. By correctly joining our digraphs, we can visually see that although we have two letters, we know that they make one sound because they are joined together. So starting with the stage 1 digraphs, we'll look first at the CK digraph. Now, on their own, they would make a K and a K sound, but when they're side by side, they make a K sound once. So even though they are two letter shapes, they make one sound, K. Now let's look at joining them correctly. So we start with our curly K, which is a small letter, to the right hand side, up to the top blue line, curve around to the bottom blue line. We keep our pen on the paper at all times. Now for our kicking K, tall letter, straight up to the top red, back down, back up on the same line, around into the center, out with a little flick. And if we want to see that in the word pack, P, A, K, or digraph K. Now we have the TH digraph. This digraph makes two different sounds. We have the heavy th sound in the words this and then, but it also makes the softer sound s in the words three and think. So let's look at forming them correctly. Our TH, two tall letters. So we're starting at the top red, straight down to the bottom blue, keep the pen on the paper, back up to the top red, straight down to the bottom blue, back on the line that you've just drawn, around, down to the bottom blue with a little flick. Then you can put the arm on the T. And if we want to see that in the word thin, we have our th, soft th digraph. And then Now let's look at the CH digraph, which makes the ch sound. We start with our curly K underneath the bottom top blue, curve around to the top blue, down to the bottom blue, keeping our pen on the paper, up to the top red because the H is a tall letter, back down, up, around and flick. And if we want to see that in the word chop, we have our ch digraph, and up, and then P. Next we have the WH digraph, which makes the wh sound. So we start with our small letter W, diagonal down, diagonal up, diagonal down, diagonal up, and then keep our pen on the paper. We go up to the top red, straight down, bottom blue, back up on the same line, around and flick. And if we want to see that in the word what, our digraph wh, t. Now let's move on to the double E digraph, which makes the E sound. So we have two small letters, two small E's. So start in between the two blue lines in the middle, curve around to the top blue line, around to the bottom blue line, up to the middle and stop, but keep the pen on the paper. Then we draw our second E, around to the top blue, bottom blue, and our little flick. And if we want to see that in the word see, S, and our digraph E. Next we have the AI digraph, which makes the A sound. Again, two small letters between the two blue lines, starting just below the top blue on the right hand side, curve up to the top, around to the bottom, then straight up, back down, keep the pen on the paper, up to the top blue for the eye, back down to the bottom, and the dot goes above the top blue line. And if we want to see that in the word tail, we have our tall T, our digraph A, and our tall O. Okay, let's move on to our OA digraph, which makes the long vowel sound O. Again, two small letters between the two blue lines, starting at the right-hand side, curve up to the top blue, around to the bottom blue, and where we rejoin, we stop, but keep the pen on the paper, then curve up to the top blue line for the top of the A, back along then the same curve, around to the bottom, stop, straight up, straight back, and a little flick. And if we want to see that in the word boat, we have our tall B, our digraph O, and our tall T. Next we have our NG digraph, which makes the ng sound. So we start with our small n, start at the top blue, down to the bottom blue, back up again, curve around, and then we keep our pen on the paper, we curve up, curve around the top, just like the A, back on the same curve, around to the bottom blue, stop, straight up, straight down, and a nice neat curve at the bottom. And if we want to see that in the word strong, S, T, R, O, and our digraph ing. Now we have the double O digraph, which makes the long oo sound. So we have two small letters for our oo digraph, two O's, starting just below the top blue line. At the right hand side, curve up to the top blue line, around to the bottom blue line, and back up, and where we rejoin at the top, we stop, but we keep our pen on the paper. Then we curve up around for the top of the second O, back on the same curve at the top, around, rejoin at the top, and we have a little flick. And if we want to see that in the word two, we have our tall T, and then our oo digraph. And finally, we have our OY digraph, which makes the oi sound. So we start again with our O, which is a small letter, so between the two blue lines, starting at the right hand side, curve around to the top, around to the bottom, and back up. Where we rejoin at the top, we stop. Then we go up to the top blue line, straight down to the bottom, curve at the bottom blue line, back up straight to the top blue line, and then straight down, because Y is a tail letter, we go straight down to the bottom red, and a nice neat curve at the end. And if we want to see that in the word toy, we have our tall T and our oi digraph. And if we just want to recap on those digraphs, k in pack, p-a, k. The soft, s in thin, s, in. Ch in chop, ch, op, and wh in what, wh, at. We have our e in see, s, e. Our a in tail, t, a, l. Our o in boat, b, o, t. And our ng in strong, s, t, o, ng. We have our oo in two, t, oo. We have our oi in toy, t, oi. Within the stage 1 digraphs, we also have 3 unjoined digraphs. We have the QU digraph, which makes the qu sound. We have the SH digraph, which makes the sh sound. And lastly, we have the PH digraph, which makes the f sound. That's all the joins for our stage 1 digraphs and how to join them correctly. Now it's time to get practicing.